I was also fiddling with this, which is just a simple collectible. And I'm just going to add a little bit of logic here, adding a node, and just on no port mode so that it's not adding like an output or something. And we'll wire that there so that I can test it a bit easier. So put a switch on there. Right, so normally when the trigger zone detects the player, it triggers all this. We're just going to have a switch, and it does that. Pretty sweet. But I did notice one thing, and that is all of this. None of this is grouped up. So when it destroys, that destroyer hits, then all this logic and stuff is still running and left behind. So if I just group these things up and then have the destroyer apply to the whole group just as before, then the whole thing disappears and the logic thermo goes down as well, which is cool. Also, when that is full, it destroys itself. So this tag doesn't exist anyway, so having this NOT gate to power this tag doesn't really make sense, because you just do that, and now that tag is powered, and when it's destroyed, it's not powered. So that saves a bit of thermo. I like to group things up in microchips, so instead of having these extra wires, I can just, and these don't have to come from the object destroyed either, so those can just sit in there, and that can sit in there, and now that whole thing could just be powered by this. So let's make sure that works. So exactly the same stuff happens, the sound plays and all that. The counter doesn't need to work either, because the whole thing is being destroyed afterwards. So we can just wire that straight into there. This is just in case you want to hook this up to something else, kind of externally. So it gives a little pulse. Are these the same? Looks like those are the same, so you probably don't need both of those. You can just do that. So that's this signal generator. It has the same settings as this, and there's no randomization going on. So in fact, you could just delete this one and plug that one straight into the glow if you wanted to. What this mover is doing is it's moving down by minus 0.2 meters per second, while this is sending 0, and then when this is sending 1, you can see on this input, when the signal generator is sending 1, then it's multiplying by 1, so then it's at 0.2 meters per second positive. You could have it on the same glow, so if we put this onto minus 0.2 and have this increase to plus 0.2, then it's got the same thing going on, but only with one gadget. Another very minor thing you could change is, you see how that's the position that this is going to emit at, but it's not going up and down with the star. So what you could do is scope in and put the group the emitter with the star. This whole chip is applying itself to the star, which is like all the things. So now we've grouped that with the emitter, we'll remove that and group it with the group that it contains. So before, this was linking straight to the star, and as we grouped something with the star, it's still connected to the original star. So I'll now group it, link it to the group containing the star and the emitter. So now, if we watch, the emitter is moving up and down with it, So we can put that dot there, and if we turn off preview invisibility, then we see the actual explosion. And I'll just move that. That's the original. I'll just move that out of the way. And let's put the explosion in there. Yeah, so now if I playtime like that, it's like bobbing up and down with the object. So, but we don't want it to emit immediately like it's doing now. So we'll power it off, and then we add a keyframe that powers it on in this chip. So this chip isn't normally powered, but if we turn the normal power on for the keyframe, it'll kind of inherit the power from the microchip. So now when this chip gets powered on because it's detecting the player, it'll also emit that thing as well as destroying the whole group and playing the sound. So if it starts in the middle, if we wait until it's at the bottom and then trigger the test, so it happened near the bottom. So really, I guess that doesn't need to be grouped. And if we change that to affect the whole group, yeah, so then that destroys affecting the whole group as well. And then I could put that back over here. Oh, we need to turn that on back on again. So really you don't need that either, you can just plug that in there, plug that in there. I'd like to thank the common people, Scully Volley, Hemlock, and all of my other supporters for making this tutorial possible. Check out TAPgiles.com to find out how you can support me in helping Dreams creators. Thanks for your consideration, and I'll see you in the next one.